Okay, so we're in our course book 6 on interest, and today we're going to talk about credit cards. Now, I'm sure we all want credit cards because we see them as a way to get things, but the thing with credit cards is you also have to pay for them, okay? When you use a credit card, you are getting something of value and you're agreeing to pay for it later. Okay, so it's kind of a way to get something now and pay for it later. Each month you receive a balance statement. Now, it's important to note that most are digital nowadays, and very often they will charge you for a physical one, like to get one in the mail. So you need to make sure you set it up with your email so that you're going to get that balance statement. Now, you need to pay the balance by a certain date, or the credit card company will charge interest on the unpaid balance. Interest charged on credit cards is called a finance charge. So let's talk about why we would apply for a credit card, because there are reasons to have one. One, you don't need to carry cash with you or large amounts of cash with you. Okay. For large purchases, you don't want to hand over a stack of $100 bills. A credit card's certainly easier to kind of do that transfer. And you also might want to build a credit rating. Now, credit rating only builds, though, when you have room in your credit. So be careful about that. If you have credit cards and you rack up a lot of charges and you always have a high balance, you're actually damaging your credit rating. So you kind of want to watch that. But if you show that you can use a credit card and pay it off monthly and use a credit card and pay it off, and that you're a good risk for lending money to, a credit card allows you to do that. Now, can anybody get a credit card? And how is someone eligible? So you have to be 18 years or older, and or have an adult cosigner. So if you're under 18, if you have an adult cosigner, you can get one. You should be employed, at least when you get one. And you should have a good credit rating. So you don't have bankruptcies, you don't have problems paying your bills, etc. Okay? Okay. What criteria would you use to choose a credit card? First is interest rate. The lower, the better. Okay, the second, are there annual fees? Because some have low interest rates, but they have high annual fees, and you want to avoid those. And do they have rewards or points? My husband has a Scotiabank Visa, and it has points, air miles points on it, so that he can collect those points and get other things. So there's benefits to having that one. And for some people, that's a benefit, okay? But I would say the most important thing is this low interest rate, okay? What is a credit limit? It is the maximum amount of money that can be spent on the credit card. So the maximum amount of money that can be spent on a credit card. Okay. What is the minimum payment? It is the lowest amount you can pay per month. Before, and if you don't, otherwise, penalties will be applied. Okay, so you might be charged more than what your interest rate is. What happens if you only pay the minimum payment and don't pay the balance off? Well, you are charged, interest. Now, here's the other interesting thing. You're charged interest on the entire balance, even the amount you paid off. Okay? So now the next month, that month would be paid off, and your balance would be lower. But if you only make the minimum payment, you're going to be charged interest on what you haven't paid off. So it's always in your best interest to not put too much on your credit card and to pay off the balance on a monthly basis. It's true that, and it can be hard if you're not careful. What could happen if you do not make any payments on the balance owing on your credit card at the end of the month? Well, first one, charged interest. So your balance will grow. And that's not good. Okay. You could get your credit card declined and stopped. Okay. You might get contacted by loan companies. And they might go after your wages. Okay, so be careful with that. And you could get a bad credit rating. Okay. What are the advantages to credit cards? Well, like we said, we could earn rewards or points. You could get a good credit rating if you manage it right. And that will help you down the line if you're buying a house or a car. If you've shown that you can manage it, then it can help you make other larger purchases down the line. And of course, you can make large purchases without cash. So instead of carrying cash in to Best Buy when you go buy your VR system, you can put it on your credit card and then pay the credit card off using your online banking. What are the disadvantages? Well, paying them off and managing them, and managing that. You want to manage that balance, okay? They also have very high interest rates. So that's something to watch out. And they're easy to use recklessly. So you have to watch that. It's easy to not realize how much you've spent on them because you don't see it till you go and look at your balance or you get your statement. Okay. Now here is a chart comparing credit cards offered by TD Canada Trust. So they have their green Visa, the Gold Select Visa, and their US dollar Visa. The only one that has an annual fee is the US dollar one. And you can get up to three user cards per account. With the TD Green, the minimum credit limit is $500. With the Gold Select, it's $5,000, and the US dollar Visa is $2,000. Interest rates: 19.99% on purchases and 21.5% on cash advantages. That's a lot of money. That's for every $100. You're paying $19.99 or $21.50. So those are huge, right? And minimum annual household income required: $12,000, $35,000, and $12,000. So, but what I really want you to look at, folks, is this interest rate. I don't like that color. It's too dark. What was I thinking? I really want you to see that interest rate. It's huge. And that one is too, right? Okay, so just be careful with that. Now let's look at a bill. This is when you have a printed statement. So your statement will have things like your account number and your balance, and then it will say the minimum due. So here they have a balance of $569.18, but their minimum due is only $12.52. Now they should pay more than that. They should pay, if possible, pay the whole thing off. It's going to have your account number, and it also tells you your statement based on your date range, like when were these accounts. So there's probably additional amounts prior to that, because if we look here, it will say there's a previous balance, right? So we made a certain number of purchases. We did do a payment because we paid that previous balance, and then we bought a few more other things, right? So purchases, $569, payments, $446, and then the total balance remaining. Now the minimum payment's $12.52. And then at the bottom it has the interest rates for the various things. Here it's 19.97% on purchases, and then 21.97 on cash advantages. It also tells the daily interest. So that implies that it is there's interest on a daily basis on it. So it's important to realize that you do need to pay these things off. Okay, so let's take a look here. Example 1. Pedro's credit limit is $2,500. He's charged 8% interest. That's not too bad. Complete the table given the credit card statement below. So here we have previous balance owing. It says $256, right? Interest charged. So if we look for our interest, he's charged $8, right? Total purchases. Well, we would have to add up the purchases, right? So we would add up this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. If we total those purchases, they total 1032.34. Total payments and credits. Well, his payments and credits is $375, right? So that is the wrong pen. $375. New balance owing. Well, it's going to be, we have a previous balance owing, we have our payments, we have our fees. So basically we have to go 256 plus 8 plus 1032.34 and subtract our 375, and what we're left with is 921.34. Okay, a lot of purchases. Minimum payment, which is 2% of the new balance owing. So that's 0.02 times the 921.34. Minimum payment is $18.43. Credit limit, as we said up top, is $2,500. So the available credit is going to be $2,500 minus the new balance owing, the $921.34, which equals $1,578.66. Okay, so that's how you would kind of analyze what's going on there. Okay, Pedro's next monthly credit card, he is charged 12.54% interest, right? Because we figure he must have made a payment, right? So let's figure out the table here. So previous balance, $921.34. Interest charged was $12.54. Total purchases, and again, we have to add up his purchases, right? So the total purchases, if we add up those those 4 in blue, we get 1349.43. Total payments and credits. Well, he actually has he's got a credit here, which is a payment, and he also got some sort of refund at No Limit Sports. I don't know what he did, but he got something back. So that's 375 plus 187.54. Okay, and that totals 562.54. The new balance owing, well, you've got to add up your previous balance, 921.34, plus your interest charge, 1254, plus the total purchases, 1349.43, minus your payments and credits, 562.54, and we get a new balance of 1720.44. Okay. Minimum payment, 0.02 times the new balance owing, 1720.44. That works out to 34.42. His credit limit, as we know, is 2,500. Available credit, 2,500 minus 1720.44. So that will equal 779.23. So he does not have a lot of credit left. Example 3s. And as you can see, if he continues in this way, pretty soon he's going to max out his credit card. And it's not going to be great. Jeremy is keeping track of his credit expenses on the table below. Complete the table to determine Jeremy's new balance. So, unpaid balance was $97.65. He made a payment of $20. Balance after payment, so it would be $97.65 minus 20, which is equal to 77.65. Monthly interest rate is 1.5%. So the interest charge would be 0.015 times 7765, which is 1.16. Okay. New purchases, 65.23. So let's look at his new balance. So balance after payment was 77.65. We have to add our interest, 1.16, and then we add the new purchases, 65.23. And this is 144.04. Okay, so now your statement will generally add things up for you, but it's important for you to know which way the money is going. Okay, so you have a little practice there with figuring out credit cards and taking a look at exactly how you can manage credit cards. Okay, and that should not take too long to do. So you can start that, filling out those tables, and we'll come back in a little bit and do our next lesson. Okay. I think I just want to double check that we're done. Yep.